Mkhethwa drowned in a pit latrine earlier this year near Mbizana in the Eastern Cape is underway. Her death kick-started the process to expedite the eradication of pit latrines. Just last month, another 2 Eastern Cape learners nearly drowned in pit latrines, but the sanitation situation at schools in the Eastern Cape remains dire, with some schools having no toilets at all. Well, for more on this, we cross to our reporter Zimkhita Manqinana. Good afternoon, Zimkhita. Just tell us what the situation is where you are.
The situation when it comes to access to toilets, to clean toilets, to safe toilets in the rural parts of the Eastern Cape is a huge problem, Nompu, because even where we are this morning at Greenville Primary School, just outside Mbizana, they have had to move their toilets to 3 different spots because they are using pit toilets which get full to capacity over the years. And then if the camera can just pan to where you see those learners there, that structure is the structure that they are currently using now. Next to it is where they first started. They had to have their 5 toilets which were being used by more than 600 pupils of this school. They are saying, Nompu, they often have to use chemicals to flush out the toilets. But the chemicals that they are using are dangerous and they can only use them during school holidays. This is a crisis for many schools because learners do not have access to this basic necessity.
So, Zimkhita, what is the overall view of the province of the Eastern Cape? We know it's quite bad.
In urban areas, in urban schools, the situation is kind of normal, Nompu, because most schools in urban areas have flushing toilets because in urban areas, the bulk infrastructure for sanitation is already there. But when you come to rural areas like where we are in Mbizana, in the Eastern Pondland part of the Eastern Cape, rural villages are struggling to have access to water to start with. Now, having access to a toilet it makes it even more difficult because there isn't a water system that is already in place for schools to connect to that system for to have flushing toilets and running sewage. So many schools that are using flushing toilets then have to use septic tanks, but it's a problem using septic tanks because honeysuckers must come to the schools to flush out the toilets every now and then, and sometimes because of budget constraints, schools do not afford to call the honeysuckers and it becomes a terrible situation on its own. So many schools resort to using pit toilets like the ones that we see. But the problem with these pit toilets, Nompu, is that over the years, they have a foul smell. Like even now where we are standing, there is a foul smell. The toilets are not clean. The toilets are not safe. So it's very, very bad when it comes to people who are in rural areas.
Sounds very uncomfortable indeed. So what are the challenges that are leading to many rural schools not having flushing toilets and having to resort to pit toilets? I mean, is it a case of the local governments not using the money that they're supposed to use for those purposes?
When we have been posing that question, Nompu, they have been saying that it's because of the backlogs that they already have within government, and it's different departments that have to come together for them to be able to provide this basic necessity. You'd recall that local municipalities do not have the capacity to provide water to rural villages. It's mainly your district municipality who take on this task. Now, if the district municipality does not provide water for the people of those areas, then it means even the provincial department of education will not be able to provide flushing toilets for rural schools. If I can just quickly make an example of Mbizana, where we are. Mbizana falls under Mbizana local municipality, and this municipality falls under Alfred Nzo municipality. Just a few days ago, Nompu, we were at Ntabankulu where people did not have access to water and were sharing their only water source with animals in a stream that is 5 kilometers away from their rural village. So if you still have villages like that, it's quite obvious that those people in that village will not have flushing toilets and will then have to be forced to use pit toilets until it comes to a certain stage where the provincial department, the local municipality and the district municipality have provided water facility, which then can be used to provide proper sanitation. Hygiene is another crucial issue when it comes to rural people, Nompu. Even these pupils who are using these pit latrines do not have water to wash their hands. They just go in and out of the toilets without washing their hands, and then they go back to class. So you can just imagine the situation that these learners have to put up with on a daily basis. And we are told that female students are the worst affected, especially when they are having their menstrual cycle, because they come to these toilets. Some of them do not have proper seats. Some of them do not even have doors. So it's an issue of which they say it's a violation of their human rights, and they are saying that this situation is degrading their dignity.
Zimkhita, given that you have seen exactly what's going on there in the Eastern Cape, and the president coming out and saying that the ANC government wants to make sure that people have dignity by 2030, doesn't that seem a bit too far away for you?
Equal education, which focuses on the norms and standards of schools in South Africa, has just released a statement, Nompu, stating also that the deadlines that have been put by the president are sort of like a delay, because they are saying that these pupils should already have access to decent sanitation when they come to school. It should not be that they still have to relieve themselves in nearby forests, behind dilapidated toilet structures. So they are saying that that deadline is too long. Something must be done swiftly to address the current situation. Just last month, a Bisho High Court ruling was given ordering the basic education department to implement, to change some of the norms and standards to ensure that there is sanitation provided in each and every school that exists in South Africa. However, we are still yet to see how this plan that has been tabled by the President of South Africa is going to change their lives. But we will continue to monitor the situation, Nompu, because we are here to find out the views of the people. However, I must state that the mood today is a little bit different, and people are on a celebratory mood that finally someone is tabling a plan that seeks to change their lives, because they are saying that it's been more than 20 years schools saying to the Department of Education they want the issue of sanitation to be addressed, but now they pin their hopes on President Cyril Ramaphosa to bring a solution to their problem.
Thanks very much, Zimkhita. That's my colleague there, Zimkhita Manqinana, reporting from the Eastern Cape. The Justice Department is gearing up